Thank you for joining us today, and congratulations on making it to this stage of the interview process. Our goal is to get a deeper sense of who you are as an educator, your approach to teaching, your classroom priorities, and how your instructional strategies align with our district's values around student engagement and growth. We'll begin with a brief warm-up question before transitioning into 3 questions focused more specifically on how student engagement and instructional planning impact your classroom. Please feel free to speak naturally and freely and draw from your real classroom experience or teacher preparation. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
All right, first question, warm-up. What is something you learned in your teaching preparation or recent experiences that has surprised you, and how has that influenced the way you think about teaching?
That's a great question. Something I've learned recently is that the teacher and the students have to work together for this thing to work. It's not just one-sided where the teacher would just be giving out information and just expect the students to learn it. It would have to be like a equal understanding between the both.
Nice. All right. Now we're going to go into social and emotional engagement. Question. Let's talk about creating a strong classroom culture. How do you design learning environments where students feel safe to take academic risks? What specific strategies do you use to support emotional engagement? And how do you know when it's working?
Could you repeat that question for me?
Absolutely. How do you design learning environments where students feel safe taking academic risks? What specific strategies do you use to support emotional engagement? And how do you know when it's working?
I design a learning environment for that by getting all students to be comfortable with each other and just not being able to, have like any bad feelings or thoughts towards one another. I do this I start the day off by letting students talk to each other for about 2 minutes, just, not about school or anything academic related. And I also, throughout my lesson, I've taught a doodle lesson, and throughout that lesson, I let students talk to each other about their thoughts or on like how they would do the lesson or just what they would do when I do the assessment, which was like a drawing assessment.
Awesome. So question number 3 is behavioral expectations. We all know that classroom management is about more than rules. It's about relationships and consistency and clarity. Can you describe a strategy you've used or will use to hold students accountable to their behavior in a way that still builds trust and respect? How does this align with the type of learning environment you aim to craft?
I'm looking at this from more of like a social constructive point of view and a connective point of view. So the punishments won't be maybe like putting them out the classroom or just, sending them to the office. It'll be more like sitting to the side as they still can watch the lesson or see what we're doing in class, so they can just, get an understanding and see everybody else engaging and they kind of make them want to engage.
Awesome. Question number 4. Now I'd like to shift into your instructional design. Can you share an example of a lesson unit or instructional artifact that demonstrates how you differentiate learning while still maintaining high expectations for all students? And what impact did that have on student engagement across academic, behavioral, emotional, and social domains, specifically aligned to challenge and high levels of engagement?
I look at this from a multiple intelligence point of view. So I understand that all students have different strengths and weaknesses. So I'll add things maybe like visual cues, or maybe I'll say something more than once so that students can understand it. I also have my objective set up on the board, and I'll repeat that throughout the activity so that students can understand and just have clarity.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing your insights with us. Your responses gave us a clear picture of how you engage learners and build positive, high expectations for your classroom culture. We'll be in touch soon regarding the next step. Do you have any final questions before we close?
No, but thank you for this interview.
Thank you.